we're VRats. My name's Danook, and we made this app, or we're trying to make this app called N-terior. This is the agenda. We want to go over the problem solution, project summary, the benefits, and how we're going to go about developing this. So the problem we have, or we're trying to solve, is that when there's roughly around 4 to 6 million houses sold per year, and when people are going to design their houses or like imagine the vision of their rooms, people have a hard time imagining what the rooms could look like, and that's usually where interior designers come in the real world. But now we have virtual reality, and that's where we're trying to use that technology to shortcut that.
So our solution is to provide the user with the ability to basically customize their room using VR. And this tool will also help you with predicting and calculating the cost of room renovation, including paint, possibly furniture, and basically assembling a room in virtual reality. And will essentially help the user also feel like they're an interior designer. And yeah, the project summary is just essentially a tool designed to assist users and potentially enterprise users create their interior space.
So the project overview and like the main features and goals that we want to implement in our project is we want to automatically approximate and overlay stud markers on walls via pass-through. Once the user is marks 2 studs, and once the user has marked 2 studs, then all the other studs would be automatically generated based on like the measurements of the initial 2 studs that the user marked. And so we would also have like a laser level feature to align objects or align things from different sides of the room, and just to make sure things are straight. And our app would scan the room via pass-through to generate a virtual blueprint of the walls, floor, and ceiling via scene understanding, and it would calculate the square area of each wall, amount of paint that is required, and the cost required to paint each wall. And it would also calculate the square area of the floor, the materials needed to, the materials and costs required to renovate the floor. So we would allow the user to like change the color of the paint on the walls, and we also allow the user to change like the floor material, whether you want like wood or tile. And yeah.
So our strategy will overlay decor on the walls and floors. So right, we don't want to start off with like having like furnitures. Being able to put paintings and everything on the wall. But if we can, we want to manage to add it on later on, and maybe add like paintings, and maybe like customize the kind of sofa you want to put next to your wall or wherever you want to put it. Allow users to select furniture from menu or catalog, position it to the wall, and adjust its orientation. Provide visual feedback to users as they interact with objects. So for example, if you see a wall there, you can't like just put it halfway in and just accept it there. So have it like kind of give you maybe a red line and green line to like, yes, you can place it here, you can place it here. And then allow multiple users to work on the same room layout simultaneously and share objects across the play space. So maybe people working in the same room together as if like they'll be designing in real life, and they could see like what changes you're making together.
Okay, so to kind of get into the marketability of it, the benefits. So our main goals, limit the use of a stud finder. You still need the 2 initial studs, and then after that you can just use the app. It'll save users and companies time and money to purchase the exact amount of materials needed. Like we said, we can calculate the amount of paint, and we can buy that exact amount, or calculate the flooring we need, buy that exact amount, just to save time and money. And we want to pull materials from websites using an API to get real-time cost and estimates, like Sherwin-Williams or Home Depot we found APIs from. And then when hanging objects, ensure the items are safely mounted into the studs for the drywall makers, like TVs or shelves. And as far as stretch goals, allow users and companies to plan and get an idea of the finished layout of the room, like Zay was talking about with furniture inside. Save companies time on contractors and allow direct company and consumer interaction and mixed reality. So this is when it starts getting into multi-user, which is a stretch goal of ours. It would be a company essentially being in the same virtual reality or mixed reality space with the consumer, and they're able to plan and talk inside the room.
So this, pretty much as far as marketability goes, we're considering a subscription plan. Pretty much with like tier 1, would have it like the user would be allowed to use like one room, $5 a month. Basically, what it would be is they would have a room. If they want to create another room, they'd have to delete it, their old room that they've created. They can create a new one, and then pretty much we would go to tier 2, which would be individual or enterprise, like multi-user. Pretty much they would be able to use like as many rooms as they want. They could probably do an entire room, say like set up this room, add another room, add another room, and then that would cater to like the average consumer, freelance, interior designers, and then there's also the partnerships with other companies would be like exclusive to the app. So like Bear would be able to like work specifically with us, or Home Depot, or Lowe's, or even Sherwin-Williams.
So in terms of development, this is our project roadmap. First, we want to set up the project with just this meta SDK scene understanding so that we can figure out where the walls start and where it ends. And then we want to just go ahead and implement the laser roll feature, since we think that might be the easiest thing to take care of right off the bat. Afterwards, we want to build a walls and floor features, which is the stud finding application. So once the user finds a stud, they should be able to mark it in VR, and then once they mark 2, it will automatically generate all of these studs until it reaches the end wall. But you're gonna have to figure out how to let it know that it's reached the end of the wall and it's a new wall. We're also going to be working on the UI at that time, so like letting them choose what color paint they want to paint the walls and what type of materials on the floor. Stud generation is number 3 after the walls. 4 is going to be integrating the web API so that we can figure out how much in real time the materials cost. We also needed to make it so that we can have the user subscription model that we're planning for our profitability. And then the 5th and 6th one is just our stretch goals. We want to, if possible, allow them to try to decorate the rooms. For the weight calculation part, it's if you're trying to, let's say we have like a TV that we model that we want to mount on the wall for them to preview, like, oh, this is where I want my TV. If they mount it on a place where it's the weight wouldn't be supported, it'll give them a warning and say, hey, this may not be a good idea. It can't support load. For 6, it's multi-user. It's just to let 2 people decorate the room at the same time.
So some of the tools that we're using, obviously, naturally for communication, we're using Discord. For the in-game version control, we're potentially, as a stretch goal again for multi-user, potentially Photon for our networking library, and for our web API integrations, given the scope of the project and potentially how many third-party API we'll need to integrate into something like this, we're looking towards like Big Box API, which integrates multiple third-party vendors from Home Depot, Lowe's, and some local smaller big box stores to get their API and catalog into our application. And also Surf API, which integrates Sherwin-Williams color catalog, and et cetera, et cetera.
This is the technical breakdown. As pass-through development is pretty much the 25 and interaction control support. And scene understanding, pretty much understanding the room. My big API integration for the paint and paint catalog, flooring catalog, and then the stretch goals of the multi-user, which is pretty much allowing multiple people to work together. And spatial anchors, assuming we want to include, that's a stretch goal, assuming we're able to save the scenario and have whatever the user has created, allow them to save it and then load it at a further point. And that's the total point breakdown with and without stretch goals.
And for division of labor, we'll have Luke and Michael. They'll be working on floors and walls, and essentially that's just calculating the area, the floor, and the wall. And with that, you'll be able to get like cost per square foot per paint, and you'll also be able to set the boundaries, like when you generate the locations of every stud. Like you wouldn't want to go past them, like out past the wall. And then we'll have Daniel and Rafael, they'll be handling the web API, because what we want to do is use the API to like get real, actual paint colors and actual pricing on material, so that you have an accurate cost of like per square foot, and you'll be able to like send out an estimate much easier. And Jackie and Zayed will be working on UI, and with that you'll be able like to change the paint or the position, like the different objects that you want to have mounted on the wall, just to see how it would look like through the UI. And I'll be working on laser level, which is just gonna align everything, make sure you have everything set. And then Elon he'll be working on hand and controller interactions and step finder generation. And we're really looking on getting a hand interactions, because we feel like it'd be a lot smoother to work with that instead of having to use a controller. And with the step finder generation, like has been previously mentioned, we'll be finding like 1 or 2 studs, and then it will generate across the wall. And with the laser level, like you'll be able to mount stuff a lot easier and know where you could position some of the things on the wall. Yeah.